Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Semester 1 Review Packet, Unit 5. Today we're going to be talking about solving and graphing systems of linear inequalities and equations. Now, for your note card, when we're just talking about the graphing, here are a couple of things that I wrote down. Actually, I didn't really write them down. I just took them straight from your notes. Okay, this is Unit 5.1 notes. Okay. So where we're talking about graphing one inequality at a time, make sure you only graph the line, label the regions, eliminate, and shade. Okay? So that's what we're going to be doing on number 39. 38 is just a little bit easier. But I wanted to throw that up there. If you need to write those down, go ahead and pause the video. So here we go. Number 38, is the ordered pair 2, -3 a solution to the system of inequalities? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph 2, -3, and there it is right there. Is that a solution? Well, yeah, it's a solution because it's in that shaded area, and that's all they want. Okay? All right, let's look at number 39. It says graph the system of inequalities. So the first one that we're going to do right here is the top one. I know that my slope is 2/7. My y-intercept is 0, -6. Greater than or equal to means that it's going to be solid, and that I need to shade above. Okay, so at -6, that's where I'm going to start. And then we go up to over 7, and then down to over 7. All right, and now I'm getting up my ruler to make sure that my line is nice and straight. Okay, now, what's the issue with the next one? The y is not by itself. So we're going to subtract the 5x to both sides. And we get 3y is less than -5x plus 27. And to get the y by itself, we're going to divide everything by 3. And so we get that y is less than -5/3 x plus 9. Well, the things that we need to know once again is our slope. Our slope is a -5/3. Our y-intercept is 0, 9. It's less than, no greater than or anything, or equal to or anything, which means this is going to be open, and it's less than, so that's where we're going to shade below. Okay, so starting at 9, I'm going to be open, and then I'm going to go down 5 over 3, open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now it's open, which means we're going to have what type of line? Dashed line. Okay, and then just make sure to add your arrows. So the last thing that we talked about is that how we need to label the different regions, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now let's figure out what we're going to cancel. Our blue line says that we need to be above the blue line. So if I'm above the blue line, that means I can cancel sections 4 and sections 3. I need to be below the red line. So below the red line is here. So I can cancel section 2 And the only thing that's going to be shaded in now is going to be, that's right, section 1. And then we just shade it in. And that's it. Now, if we had to do a sample solution like we did in some of the other ones, it's anything that's shaded. Okay? All right. Number 40 says to identify the solution of each equation. Now, number 40 might be a little hard to see, but there are 2 lines on top of each other. And if there are 2 lines on top of each other, that means infinite solutions. Okay? Now, what about the next one? The solution is where the lines intersect. So what is that point right there? Well, that's the point, -6. So I go -6, and then how many up do we go? We go up 5. All right, number 41. Solve the following systems by graphing. Now, a couple things to look at. They're all equal signs, okay? So no shading. No shading when it's just an equal sign. So I'm going to do the first line in blue. I know that my slope is a -1/3, and my y-intercept is the point 0, 2. So it's 0, 2 is where I start, down 1/3, and then I do that in both directions. Right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's all my points. Now we're going to draw the line using the ruler. Okay, and now the next one. Now, I'm just going to rewrite it real quick. The first thing that I notice about this is the x is not by, or the y is not by itself. So we have to solve for x. Solve for y. Why do I keep saying that? So that's -x minus 12. To get the y by itself, I'm going to divide by -3. And then we get y equals a negative divided by negative makes that a +1/3 x. And once again, negative divided by negative makes that a +4. So my slope is 1/3, and my y-intercept is the point 0, 4. So there I am at 0, 4. Now I notice when I go up 1/3, I'm not going to find where these lines meet. Okay, so I'm going to go in the opposite direction, and right away I find out where they meet, where they intersect, and I'm going to do another point just to help me draw the straight line. Okay, and now I'm using my ruler, my straight edge, add the arrows, and where they intersect is right there. What's that point? Well, that is the point -3, +3. All right, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. All right, number 42 says to solve the system. Oop. Now, we can solve it by any method we want, but what I notice is that the y is by itself, okay? When the y is by itself, we're supposed to put parentheses around it, and then we're going to use, we're going to use substitution for this, okay? So the bottom equation, the negative 8x minus, that's what we're going to plug into, equals negative 18. And then I'm going to plug in the 6 minus 4x. Now, I need to distribute, and we're going to distribute this negative sign inside. So we have negative 8x minus 6. A negative times a negative makes it a positive 4x equals negative 18. Now, the next step would be to combine our like terms. Negative 8x plus 4x is a negative 4x minus 6 equals negative 18. And from here, you guys should be able to solve this. Okay, we add the 6 to both sides. We get negative 4x equals negative 12. And then to get the x by itself, we need to divide. And then I get that x equals 3. Now, is that my answer? X equals 3? No, because we're looking for a point. I know what x is. Now I need to find out what y is. So to find out what y is, I'm going to plug it back into our equation, the 6 minus 4x. And now we're going to plug in 3 and solve. 4 times 3 is 12, and then 6 minus 12 is negative 6. So we get our final answer of 3, negative 6. Okay, number 43. Once again, before you decide what you're going to do, look at the equations. The x is by itself, so we're going to plug that in. And so it's the same thing, but this time, instead of plugging in for the y, we're going to plug in for the x. And we're going to plug in the 2y plus 8. Excuse me. So the first thing that we need to do is to distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times 2 gives us negative 6y. Negative 3 times a positive 8 gives us a negative 24. And now we look to combine our like terms. Negative 6y plus 6y, those cancel. And then we're left with negative 24 equals 6. So you need to ask yourself, is that a true statement? No, that is false. Okay, we're sad over here. So when it's false and we're left with an untrue statement, our answer is no solution. All right, 44. Now, what I notice in 44 when I'm trying to solve is that my x's and my y's are lined up. So I need to think to myself, what would be easier to cancel, the x's or the y's? Yeah, I think the y's would be easier to cancel. Okay, they're opposites, one's positive, one's negative, and we have 1 at the bottom. I would need to multiply that by 7. Okay, so our top equation stays the same, the negative 6x minus 7y equals negative 22. And now I'm going to multiply everything by 7. So we get negative 49x plus 7y. And then 7 times 11 is 77. Okay, and now we add everything up. Just like we wanted, our y's cancel out. And then we're left with negative 55x equals negative 22 plus 77 is 55. And then since the x is not by itself, we're going to divide both sides by negative 55. And we get that x equals negative 1. Okay, and remember, I want to find out what y is. So we need to plug this back in. And you can plug it back into either equation. I'm going to plug it into the bottom one because I'm left with a positive 1y. And we're plugging in negative 1. So negative 7 times 7, we get 7 plus y equals 11. And then to get the y by itself, we're going to subtract both sides by 7. And we get that y equals 4. Oh, all right, hold on, guys. I'm getting an important phone call. Well, I guess it wasn't as important as I thought. Anyways, so we find out that y equals 4. All right, 45. Okay, the first thing, once again, we notice that the x's and the y's are lined up, so we want to use elimination. And what would be easier to cancel, the x's or the y's? None of them look that easy to cancel, but the x's and the y's are smaller numbers. So what we're looking for is the lowest common multiple, okay? So the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12. The lowest one they both have in common is 6. So that's what we're trying to find. Now, for 2 to get to 6, I need to multiply it by 3. And to get negative 3 to 6, I'm going to multiply it by 2. So the thing to remember is we need to multiply everything by 3 on the top. Okay, so 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 8, it gives me 24. And then 3 times negative 12 gives us negative 36. Okay, and now on the bottom, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6x. 2 times negative 12 is a negative 24. And then 2 times negative 24 gives us negative 48. Okay, and now just like we wanted to, the x's cancel. But what else cancels? That's right, the y's cancel. So on the left side, we're left with 0. Okay, now on the right side, we have negative 36 minus 48. Those don't cancel. That's actually negative 144. And then we need to ask ourselves again, are we left with a true statement? No. Okay, that's false. We're sad. And our answer is no solution. Okay. Sorry guys, this is a long video, but once again, we got a lot of stuff to going on here. All right. Word problems. All right, why don't you pause the video, read this to yourself, and highlight any important information. Now, when I'm talking about important information, those are the steps that we need to do. We need to identify, we need to set up, we need to solve, and we need to label. Okay? That might be another good thing to write on your note card. Okay? All right, good luck. Okay, so you can kind of see my highlighting. I wrote down right away what the x and the y was. I identified my variable. And now we're going to write our equations. So my first equation is actually going to be my yellow one. Everything I wrote down in yellow. Okay? So 5 small boxes, which would be 5x plus large boxes, 9y. Total means equal 220. Okay, now let's write down our blue equation. So we got 10 small boxes plus 13y total 340. Okay, so that's how we get those. Now, the next thing it's asking us I highlighted the question. It says find the cost of the large boxes. So if I want the large boxes, it means I can eliminate the small boxes. So what would I multiply to get rid of the x's? Yeah, I'm going to multiply the top, and I'm going to multiply the top by a -2. Okay, so we get negative 10x minus 18y equals negative 440. I didn't do anything to the bottom equation, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. We're going to add everything up. The x's cancel. Negative 18 plus 13 is negative 5y, and negative 440 minus 3 or plus 340 is negative 100. So is the y by itself? And the answer is no. We have to divide by negative 5, and then we get that y equals 20. Okay? So find the cost of one large box of oranges, and that cost is $20. Okay? Now, if it asks for the small, we would either try to cancel the y's, or we would go back. Whoa, where'd I go? Sorry, I don't know what's going on right now. We would just go back and plug in. Okay? All right. Once again, 47. I want to see if you can highlight everything and then set up your two equations. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and there we go. Maria's family had 2 adults and 1 child, so 2x plus 1y equals 28. Tony's family was 6 adult and 7 child, so 6x plus 7y equals 108. Now, what are we trying to cancel here? It says the cost of an adult meal, so I want the adult, which means we can cancel the y's. So if I'm going to cancel the y's, what do I need to multiply the top by? Yeah, we need to multiply by -7 to get rid of that. Okay, so multiplying by -7, we get negative 14x minus 7y, and then -7 times 28. Yeah, negative 196. Okay, my bottom equation stays the same. 6x plus 7y equals 108. Add these together. Negative 14 plus 6 is negative 8x. Our y's cancel. And then negative 196 plus 108 is negative 88. To get the x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 8. And we get that x equals 11. So x was our adults. They're asking how much was an adult meal. Adult meal was $11. Okay. I just want to stress, make a note card. Go back and use your notes. That's where I'm getting all of this information from. Okay. Now, if you need any extra help with this, please come find Ms. Carranza or myself. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra Unit 5 Semester 1 review. Good luck on that final, guys. And thanks for watching.